Hello, YouTube. The famous soothsayer and alchemist Michel de Nostradamus, or Nostradam, better known as Nostradamus, was not only a famous predictor of the future, but also the creator of a very mysterious magic machine, the egg of Nostradamus. According to the descriptions of eyewitnesses, the egg of Nostradamus was about 2 meters high and was a high bronze throne covered with a smooth shell resembling the shape of an egg. Most researchers agree that Nostradamus received the drawings of this device from the Masons, a society in which he was a member. There are also mentions of a similar device known to the Templars. Now, my information comes from Russia, where they have interesting materials about it. It's a very obscure case, basically, and I've not seen it anywhere else, but I have to go by what I have. The egg of Nostradamus was made according to his own drawings, possibly with modifications, in the private workshop of a master gunsmith. It consisted of a shell and a chair with armrests made of bronze, which Nostradamus considered an ideal material combining both male and female qualities. There are also mentions of a mysterious object called a talking head, the characteristics of which still remain unknown. However, the egg of Nostradamus was not just a separate artifact. It was only a part of a large magical machine that made up the entire house of the soothsayer, or clairvoyant, and alchemist. The hole itself, where the egg was located, was inaccessible to outsiders, and its influence on the artifact cannot be excluded. Perhaps the house itself was one of the shells shielding Nostradamus from the outside world. Similar structures isolating from electromagnetic fields are being studied and are called hypomagnetic chambers. Hypomagnetic chambers were originally created to study the effect of isolation from electromagnetic fields on living organisms. Scientists wanted to create conditions on Earth similar to those in which astronauts encounter in outer space. Their goal was to conduct experiments in such an environment. Scientists have achieved some success by weakening the electromagnetic field in the chambers by more than 50,000 times. Experiments with humans have shown that staying in a hypomagnetic chamber activates the left hemisphere of the brain, improves memory, stimulates intelligence and creativity. Some people even claim to have psychic abilities. Those chambers have also been used to treat children suffering from various diseases, such as childhood epilepsy. However, experiments with cell colonies have shown that degradation and death occur after the 10th generation. This indicates that life based on proteins and nucleic acids needs the electromagnetic environment of the Earth and space for its existence. So, was that egg a time travel device? And that talking head reminds me of androids, maybe a part of the android, his brain encased in a so-called head. Michel de Nostradamus, better known as the prophet Nostradamus, is regarded by many as the world's greatest mystic and clairvoyant. Nostradamus' followers credit the 16th century writer with incredible powers of foresight, believing he predicted the future in cryptic passages that he wrote before his death in 1566. Nostradamus is said to have accurately predicted world-changing events, such as the Great Fire of London in 1666, or the assassination of J.F. Kennedy in 1963. Nostradamus compiled his supposed prophecies in cryptic 4-line poems known as quatrains. The poems rarely mention specific events, dates, or places, but many conspiracy theories are convinced a wealth of information can be found in the quatrains. And the bulk of Nostradamus' writings were published in 1555 book Les Prophéties. The tome of prophecies is divided into 10 sets of verses or centuries, each containing 100 quatrains. A French astrologer whose predictions made almost 500 years ago have been weirdly accurate and could indicate what's in store for maybe future year 2024 as the time approaches. But we won't go there. I'm not into this. Michel de Nostradamus, who was best known as Nostradamus, in his book that I mentioned back in 55, apparently he had 942 forecasts of the future and predicting some of the horror events like I already listed. Although most people take the 16th century physician's claims with a pinch of salt, there have been notable occasions over the years when they have been eerily close to reality. The prophecies retold and expanded by Nostradamus figured largely in popular culture in the 20th and 21st century, as well as being the subject of hundreds of books. You can look at them, fiction and non-fiction. And the life of Nostradamus has been depicted in several films and videos, and his life and writings continue to be a subject of media interest. He was a great doctor too, and he found very interesting cures. Never forget it. A physician, a researcher, a clairvoyant, time traveler. Well, look around you. You can see what Nostradamus looked like based on the portrait I have in my video. And you might see him around if he was a time traveler and decided to visit the 21st century. But this so-called egg machine, it's interesting, but it kind of reminds me of some similar vague stories that I've heard through my decades of research of paranormal phenomena. And the shape of the object, you start thinking about ancient legends, stories, mythology from China, for example, about egg-shaped craft that arrived on Earth, and in it were the so-called deities who were later teaching terrestrials about civilization. We'll get into this later. I want to thank you for your attention to my work. If you can support my research, you can find the links on how to do it in the description to this channel. And I have a number of other videos I want to present to you on a variety of subjects of paranormal, on enigmas of history, Eurasia, and other parts of the world, about incredible abilities of human beings, and about non-human beings. So stay tuned. Thank you.